Hey everyone. So I want to discuss a topic today that has been on my mind for a while now, and it's about decluttering your life and about how we accumulate so much material possessions. And by the age of 50, we start to realize that those things don't matter anymore. And how a lot of these possessions are making us feel unsatisfied, causing us a lot of stress and robbing us of our energy. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I simplified my life after 50 and how it can give you more freedom and clarity and peace of mind. Hi, I'm Raz. I'm the semi-retired samurai. I talk about reinvention after 50, especially for the Gen X crowd. Now, a few years ago, I started to look around my room, and my wife, she's a big hoarder. She's got tons of clothes, taking up, closets and closets of space. And I noticed that every time I came home, things were kind of stressful because, I would go look to cook something and, there'll be lids missing from the pans and things were disorganized, things all over the floor. And it just made for a very, stressful environment because to me, I'm an energy person, practicing martial arts for a long time. I can feel this kind of stuff. And I felt like the energy wasn't flowing through the house. And during that time, I remember that there was a lot of turmoil in the house as well because finances weren't as good as they should be. And life, I felt, could have been better. So I thought that, the energy was off, and in the Chinese, they always believed in the feng shui, right? The movement of the energy. And my parents always believed in that. But when I was younger, I always thought that this was kind of like, Chinese woo-woo stuff. But now I'm starting to, believe it and understand it. And so I started to make a change of, decluttering my life. And I recently went on a vacation. It was the longest vacation I took. It was about a month. I spent traveling. And one of the things that I noticed is when you pack, you always feel a little bit unsettled or anxious that you're forgetting something. But when you leave the house finally, because you have to get to the airport, you start to feel free, and the stress starts to lift off your shoulders. And then you get to your hotel room and you just feel amazing because the place looks fresh, everything's clean, everything's in its place, it's tidy, and you go out for a walk outside the hotel and you feel at peace with yourself. And this particular trip, I always seem to overpack, but this time I said, I'm going to take the minimum amount of stuff with me. And I was a little bit unsettled at first, but when I got there, I realized after a month that I was able to live out of a suitcase, no problem. And it was probably one of the most freeing feelings that I had. And when I start to, at the end of my trip, when I had to head home, normally, my wife would feel like she wants to buy stuff to take home. But this time I didn't buy anything. I didn't take anything home. And it was so easy, right? And I think that's the way that a lot of us should live our life after 50. If you want to feel free and peace of mind and relieve a lot of the stress. And I think what happens a lot of times is when we're younger, we feel like we're missing out on a lot of things if we don't keep up with the Joneses. So when I was younger, I remember in my 20s, even though I didn't have a lot, I was actually quite happy because things were so simple. And you always, when you're younger, always dreamed of, when I get to this position in life, I'm going to buy this. And then then you buy that item and you're satisfied for that moment. Maybe it's a brand new car for the first time. Maybe not a luxury car, but for the first time, it's a brand new car. And you feel great about yourself. But then the feeling after a month or two goes away. And now all of a sudden you see your friend, coworker, or neighbor get a nicer car than you. and you feel like, oh my gosh, I got to go out and get another car because I feel, because you attach that to your self-worth, and you feel like, okay, well, if I don't get one, then I feel a little bit less than that my neighbor or my friend, right? And so you start to accumulate stuff over the years, and before you know it, you've amassed all this material possessions in your house. And what it's done is it's causing you more stress because you have to manage those possessions. And a lot of the stuff maybe you don't even use anymore. It's been sitting around for years. And so I slowly I start to declutter my place and my house. I didn't do it all at once, but a lot of things that I got rid of, I think it's hard for a lot of people because you think about, well, am I going to miss this item? And I can tell you the truth that for all the stuff that I got rid of, I don't have any regrets. I don't miss one thing I got rid of. In fact, what it's done is it's really simplified my life and really allowed me to pinpoint and focus what is important in my life. And I got the idea because many years ago, I've always been fascinated by Japanese living rooms and the simplicity. The dojos were so simple and clean, and I loved that look. And I read somewhere about the Japanese have a tea ceremony room, and in there it is so simple. There's nothing really to it, but people just can go in, and it doesn't matter what status you are in society. So I heard that back in the day, the samurais weren't even allowed to carry their swords in that room. So basically what that room was used for is to sit down and have tea, enjoy tea, and have conversations with people from all walks of life. And I thought that's a beautiful thing that we should all strive to get back to, right, is having conversations with people. And I think with all the technology now and everything, there's so much we're being bombarded with that, from 24/7 news, and we just got all these modern conveniences that we're just overloaded in our minds with all this stuff. And it's hard to really focus on the present and focus on what is the most important thing in life. So I think when we get older now, we realize that a lot of this stuff is just really meaningless, because in the end, we're going to have to get rid of it. It's going to be someone else's junk, or it's going to be in the landfill, right? And I think I can't remember what the stats were. It's something like we're bombarded with something like 6,000. We have 60,000 thoughts per day, and about 95% of the thoughts are from the day before, and 80% are negative. So I used to think about, like, sometimes when I get home from work, like why I can't concentrate, why I have like certain ideas and I would feel unmotivated that day, and I have to will myself to do things. And I started to realize that, yeah, a lot of it's because of all this clutter in my life. And I used to worry about, what people thought of me, worry about fear of things that never happened, and realized that my fears were negative. And so I thought about, what kind of energy, how much energy would I have if I got rid of all this stuff in my life? And I started doing that, and the amazing thing was ideas start coming to my mind about business ideas that I never thought of before, things that I cared about, I was spending more time on, and it allowed me to better focus on things as well, because I wasn't stressed with a lot of these things that used to burden me before. So it really increased my brain capacity, and most of all, it's increased my happiness in life, like 100%, right? And I'm curious to hear from all of you, and I want to find out, like, what is something in your life right now that you don't really need? Feel free to comment below and let me know, and share your thoughts with the others here. And if you like my videos, feel free to like, subscribe, And yeah, if you can check out the next one. And once again, I will see you next time. All right, take care. Bye for now.